Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily news television show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 10 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ plus brand in Florida. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the LGBTQ plus community. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ plus world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Monday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we'll tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ plus evening news show.
Hotspots magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community.
Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 10,000 LGBTQ plus television stories.
We will produce the 25th anniversary of our Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival on June 14th. And we present Pride Fete in August and Pride Fort Lauderdale in February.
Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support the mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 community leader anchors will host this show to support the LGBTQ plus community. Let's meet today's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome back to the table anchor Scott Galvin. He's the executive director of Safe Schools South Florida and a former member of the North Miami City Council, a passionate advocate for LGBTQ plus youth and HIV awareness. Scott also serves on the AHF AIDS Healthcare Foundation board. So Scott, Pride Center's Equality Park After Dark brings the fun on March 20th. Tell me what's happening.
Well, if you want somebody to tell you about bringing the fun, you brought the right fun person, because at Equality Park After Dark, a curated monthly market returns on March the 20th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Held at the newly renovated plaza in Equality Park, the event features food trucks, handmade crafts, vintage finds, art, music, clothes, and local vendors. Guests can peruse a variety of offerings from local businesses, artists, and craftspeople. The market provides a vibrant space to eat, shop, and socialize, making it a fun destination for friends, family, and pets. The event takes place every third Thursday of the month, welcoming everyone to join in the fun and excitement. For more details, visit pridecenterflorida.org. So, I mean, this is going to be a lot of fun. I don't get up to Wilton Manors too often, simply because, I'm a Dade County boy and I'm working long hours. But this sounds like something that is going to be worth getting in the car and coming up to enjoy the vibe.
Yeah, well, and it's the perfect weather for it also, Scott. You know what I mean? And to have, enjoy a nice little evening in Wilton Manors with your pet or your significant other, sounds like a lot of fun. But what draws me the most is that, right now, we really have to be taking care of our local folks, our LGBTQ plus owned and operated, our BIPOC owned and operated places. And so at Equality Park, they have all these great vendors, all these artisan vendors, food, little trinkets, all kinds of stuff from local places.
Right.
You know, local folks that you'll see their faces behind the table at the event, and they'll tell you how they made their things. You know what I mean? So when you're spending your hard-earned money, that's how I want to spend my hard-earned money.
Right. There's been
No, I was just going to say it's actually a fantastic event. We're fortunate the chorus at our offices are at the Pride Center. So, you know, on Thursday nights is usually a late meeting for me. So, it's so nice to get out and get a break just before the next meeting. Like they have like, you know, food trucks. There's usually like hot dogs and stuff. And then, yeah, you got like the local vendors that are happening there too. So it is a lot of fun. And there's a lot of good people and good community and just people just kind of getting together and just, you know, shooting the breeze, you know?
Yeah, like bringing their lawn chair, bringing their pet, having a cocktail, buying something to eat, listening to music. Like, that's what we need right now, right? Like, it brings us together, and you might run into somebody you haven't in a while, right? So get on over there and check it out. That is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing to Queer News Tonight. And we look forward to seeing you at Pride Center's Equality Park after dark on March 20th. Next up, let's welcome anchor Edward Otto Zielke. He's had a successful career in financial marketing and serves as a director of marketing and sponsorship for the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida. Edward, GMCSF's Broadway Blockbusters is at the Parker on March 21st and March 22nd, and is also calling for auditions for Dazzling Divas. Tell me what's happening.
Yes, the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida is gearing up for a spectacular night of Broadway magic at the Parker in Fort Lauderdale on Friday, March 21st at 8 p.m. Fans will be treated to powerful performances of iconic songs from Les Miserables, Wicked, Rent, In the Heights, and so much more. Tickets for this concert are sold out. Unfortunately, you know, we don't have any more tickets, but, you know, definitely check back on the website. Because sometimes, you know, you get a cancellation here or there. The event is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, the Westin Fort Lauderdale Beach Resort, AARP in South Florida, Holman, and Outclick. Additionally, on Saturday, March 22nd, the chorus will hold auditions for the Pride concert at Sunshine Cathedral starting at 1 p.m. Dazzling Divas is our Pride concert, and you're invited to showcase your talents and become a part of the LGBTQ plus experience in the chorus. More information is available on our website at gmcsf.org.
Ooh, that was a mouthful. Okay, so let me begin by saying congratulations on selling out. I mean, you know, it's Broadway, baby, and we love the Gay Men's Chorus, and we love Broadway tunes. So, I mean, you had me at Broadway, right? So congratulations on selling out.
Thank you.
That is one and good point to make on Ticketmaster. That is one of the good things about Ticketmaster is that you can very easily, hey, I can't go, something happened. You can return your ticket back and they'll sell it for you. So that's a great point, you know? So you didn't buy your tickets early. We tried to tell you to get your tickets early. I mean, come on, it's Broadway. It's the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida. You know, we're musical nerds in our community.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to sell out. I mean, and it's, what, a week and a half away still? And
Actually, it's this Friday.
Oh my God.
So we're literally right here in Concert Suite, and you know, right next door to us, they're actually rehearsing the orchestra right now. So it's actually a really exciting time for us this week. You know, we get to go to the Parker and put it all together this week, and we're so grateful to Event Services Group because they've helped produce with Seminole Hard Rock some of the decor that you're going to be seeing on stage. You'll see some of these very large playbills of some of the shows that we're showcasing into the. Yeah, so it's going to be beautiful artwork. So we're absolutely thrilled.
And let's talk about Dazzling Divas also now. Okay, so that's going to be. I mean, God, you go from one to another, Edward. You boys don't even you don't even rest. Okay,
no.
You remind me of Scott Galvin. Anyway, Dazzling Divas. You're having auditions, right? You don't have to be a diva to audition,
right?
Correct.
That is absolutely correct. You don't have to identify as.
I mean, you can inside, but that's fine.
You don't have to identify as gay, bi, or male to be a part of it. We do have members that are female, and so we're thrilled to have them. We have some straight members. We've had transgender members in our community, so we continue that as well. So anybody is welcome to come and audition. Just fill out the registration form on our website.
Okay. Do you should you have a song prepared?
Yeah, definitely. You know, think about it, but you know, if you don't know anything,
no,
I think
don't say it. Don't say it. Don't tell people to sing Happy Birthday. Don't do it. Don't do it.
One of the. What do you think? What is the most common song everybody knows?
Probably something by Lady Gaga.
Oh, all right.
Tell
well,
them to sing
definitely come and
Abracadabra.
sing something.
Tell them to sing Abracadabra. Then you really know they're,
Right.
how far.
Absolutely.
No.
But definitely just come, hum a few bars. We'll sing along with you and, make it a good experience for you.
I love that. Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer, nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ plus stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. And we look forward to seeing you all at the Parker on March 21st for Broadway Blockbusters. And you can also audition on March 22nd for Dazzling Divas.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Faye What? She is legendary events host, television and radio personality, and the host of Hotspots Happening Out's The Faye What Show. Faye, New York's dragged Diznee comes to Aquaplex on March 18th. Tell me what's happening.
Well, the New York City hit show Drag Diznee is bringing its fabulous high-energy take on classic fairy tales to Fort Lauderdale's Aquaplex for one night only. The event will take place on Tuesday, March 18th at Aquaplex, Fort Lauderdale. All right, that's tomorrow. Okay, so doors open at 7 p.m. with the show starting promptly at 8 p.m. Featuring drag stars Holly Day, Anita D, Fifi Dubois, and androgyny. This performance promises a dazzling comedic and over-the-top retelling of beloved fairy tales. Definitely not the childhood versions that you remember. Attendees can expect stunning costumes, outrageous performances, and an unforgettable night. Okay, it's all about entertainment at Aquaplex tomorrow. General admission tickets are priced at $25, while VIP tickets are available for just $35. For more details and ticket purchases, visit Florida Drag Show, FLAdragshow.com. It's all about drag and it's all about Aquaplex and it's all about Diznee. Like, we love these fairy tales, right? Like, when I was a kid, it was like, I would make it my own, right? So Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was more like Snow White and the Seven Gay Boys, right? Because that was my life, right? Growing up. So to see this go on stage and make it, not your normal fairy tale is what I'm like, I can't wait to see,
It sounds fantastic. And, and it's so great to see Aquaplex doing so well. This was the establishment that
was Lips.
It used to be Lips, yeah. So, and just at they just bought it this year, was it?
Yeah.
Like the beginning of the year. And so it was in Key West, I think, the original, the owners, right?
Oh, yes.
And then they came up to here and they purchased that. So, yeah, they're doing a lot of great stuff there now. So I'm excited.
It is. It is.
Tell you what, guys, I'm just going to get out of the way and let you guys go at it, because all this art stuff, it's not up my alley. So I'm glad to hear there's so much fun stuff going on and that you guys are able to bring it home.
Well, you definitely have to venture up to Broward a little bit.
Yeah.
Just come and, come to see a show, no matter what it is. Because we've got a little bit of everything. And I know they have it in Miami and, and everywhere too. But, we definitely have a lot of something special up here too.
Very cool.
But throughout South Florida.
And throughout South Florida. And we have what is called the Diznee Gays. You've heard of them, okay? Yeah. They have their annual passes. They know all the songs to all the Diznee musicals and movies. And, these are the people that like that I love to watch, enjoy a show. You know what I mean? Like, like when a gay men's chorus put on shows and you see everybody in the audience singing, like that fills you, you know? So
I'm such a Diznee gay that I memorized all the words to every song in Fantasia.
There are no words in Fantasia.
Boom!
Wow. Boom! Ba-dum-bum.
Ba-dum-bum.
That is a big LGBTQ story for today, and there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing, and Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Aquaplex on March 18th as New York's drag Diznee comes to South Florida.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Faye What, and let's queer up trans rights. Pentagon confirms it will kick out trans members by Trans Day of Visibility, March 31st. In a move that further intensifies the Trump administration's efforts to purge transgender individuals from the military, the U.S. Department of the Navy has issued new procedures for removing transgender service members. This directive, filed in federal court on Thursday, orders involuntary separations of personnel with a history of gender dysphoria after March 28th. It follows the administration's previous orders reversing policies that allowed transgender individuals to serve openly. Critics, including Shannon Minter from the National Center for Lesbian Rights, argue the waiver process is designed to be nearly impossible, effectively forcing out transgender troops. Minter described the situation as extortion, noting the policy leaves service members with life-altering decisions. Legal challenges to the ban are ongoing, with the U.S. District Judge Anna C. Reyes questioning the lack of evidence supporting the administration's claims and the feasibility of the waiver process. Reyes is expected to rule on a preliminary injunction by March 19th, which could block the implementation of the policy. As the military moves to enforce these new restrictions, critics warn that the policy will harm military readiness by removing experienced personnel. LGBTQ activists note that the new orders will be carried out in virtual sync of the Trans Day of Visibility recognition of the importance of the trans community in America. You know, these people, they know so much about us and they know nothing about us all at the same time, right? Because they always try to do things around our celebrations. They always try to make it a point to sign certain bills or all kinds of stuff on the first day of Pride Month, right? They know exactly what TDOV is, right? And they want to make it a point to just eradicate us, to eliminate us. You know, I feel for the service folks who are there fighting for this country that doesn't love them. You know what I mean? Like, I can't understand that, you know, and if you speak to anybody who is in the military, most are so proud to be service people. Yeah. You know, to represent this country, to fight for this country, even though things like this are happening, you know, it's no coincidence that they want to do this by TDOV. It really isn't, you know, but this brings me back to us talking about this happening a couple of weeks ago. And, there being a mention about that they don't even know how many transgender folks are actually actively working in the military. So how are you going to get them out if you don't even know where they're at?
I know. Where's the screening process for something like that? You know what I mean? But it's kind of like, you know, you have to think, you know, some people have to, you know, possibly make a choice. It's like, you know, do I identify as transgender now, or do I identify as one of the other two sexes now that I'm required to check off on the box, you know? So it's disheartening, you know, just to see that, especially from qualified people that are serving in our military, that are protecting us from our country and stuff. And you're worried about, you know, what's in their pants or not, you know, It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's important, though, that the entire LGBTQ community talks about this and other issues, because it will have the tendency to say, oh, that's trans, I'm not trans, so it's not really affecting me. But the current administration has already gutted leadership of the 4 branches of military service, 5, 6, if you want to count Space Command. But now they're effectively removing more qualified soldiers as well.
Yeah.
Should this country come under attack, we are weakening ourselves by leaps, by continuing to push this kind of nonsense. So it's important that Happening Out continues to talk about these shows and these things and keeping people's focus on important issues.
Yeah. It's still, I mean, it brings me to almost tears, just, you know, having to make those choices, like Edward said, right? You know, if you're in the military, you and your family have health care, you and your family maybe have a place to live, you and your, you know, all these things, it would literally change your whole world.
Right, you'll lose those things. You will lose those things.
Aside from also losing yourself.
Right.
You know, because nobody wants to be dead named. Nobody wants to be dead gendered. We will continue to follow this story, but I mean, honestly, it breaks my heart. That is the big LGBTQ story for today, and there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Scott Galvin, and let's queer up business. Trump administration targets poppers, cracking down on LGBTQ plus businesses. The Trump administration has now set its sights on poppers, a popular product in LGBTQ plus communities. Double Scorpio, known for its poppers and other products, has ceased operations after an FDA search and seizure at its offices. The FDA, under Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s leadership, is cracking down on poppers despite their long-standing legal gray area. Double Scorpio, shared a statement last week saying, quote, "We've always cared about making an authentic product and supporting our community," end quote, adding that the FDA's actions are not isolated. Other companies like PacWest Distributing have experienced similar crackdowns. Poppers, used mainly for euphoria and relaxation, have faced growing scrutiny. The FDA has warned against using poppers, citing serious health risks, but until now, it hadn't targeted producers. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who believes poppers cause AIDS, is fueling this push. His controversial views on public health, including conspiracy theories about HIV, have raised alarm among LGBTQ plus advocates. The National LGBTQ Task Force and others have condemned his appointment, calling his approach harmful to vulnerable communities. As businesses close, queer voices are pushing for continued support of queer businesses, creators, and local communities. I mean, what a trope to say that poppers or any one thing causes AIDS.
Yeah.
You know, like it just that I am near 60 and I know people who died, and for anybody to politicize that in a place like South Florida that is the epicenter of HIV infections in the country, it's not going to do anybody any good.
Not at all.
Not at all. It's,
Not at all.
It's junk science, and it's just meant to shock and awe, and I'm sure that more than half the country is cheering this on.
RFK is a lunatic. Okay? He's got worms in his head for a reason, right? The guy is not well, all right? And saying statements like that are so harmful. Right. Okay? So harmful because people believe it, okay? His last name is Kennedy, all right? So there are people out there that'll go, "Oh, okay, those poppers, yes, they should be eliminated because they cause AIDS." You know, I mean, and we'll say it like that, rolling off the tongue like nothing. Poppers do not cause AIDS.
I feel like we're back in 1985 here, okay? It's like, you know, like where people thought that like you can get AIDS by kissing. It's so ridiculous. We have so much more knowledge that we know about this disease since 40 years of this. So yeah, it's outrageous, and they're just going to say and do outrageous things at this point because they just don't care.
Right.
And you're going to see it. This is, again, everything we're seeing now is just the first steps. He's only been in office for 2 months.
Wow.
This is a precursor to saying, well, you know, poppers causes AIDS, and when people get drunk, they get out and become sexually promiscuous, and that causes AIDS. Right. And then they're going to start coming after more mainstream things that the communities in general are using. I mean, look, they've already tried to ban porn in certainly the state of Florida, parts of the country. Who's to say they're not going to plan to ban liquor?
Well, they'll target LGBTQ plus businesses like this one here that's selling this. You know, that's what it is that they're putting the spotlight on this particular company. So, if you're an LGBTQ plus organization and we do not like your product, we are not going to let you, sell it. We're going to bankrupt you.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the fear or the threat of something happening to you. We see that in schools where teachers have run away from being GSA sponsors because they don't want to deal with what happens around them.
They won't lose their jobs, Scott.
Businesses then will stop selling products that they feel the government will then come knocking on their door about.
And no one's going after the whippets, or no one's going after the freaking keyboard duster things that all these people are huffing, right? Like, no one's going after that, but you're going to go after our poppers? I mean, like, it's crazy time. And like you said, I mean, it's like every story is like we go back just a little bit more. Pep and prep, right? Because it's got some kind of relationship with the LGBTQ plus community. That's why they also don't want to cover that. Right. Anything associated with us, which is why, like we said before, we've got to make sure that we support local, support LGBTQ, support BIPOC, because they're coming for us. These poor businesses, these are small mom and pop places. Again, they're selling poppers. I get it, but they're still businesses. I mean, what happened to the American dream about having a small business and having it not be infiltrated by the government in this way? That is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ plus stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ plus story for today. I'm Edward Otto Zielke, and let's queer up gay culture. Kennedy Center controversy sparks unlikely call for diversity and inclusion from Trump ally. Vice President J.D. Vance arrived at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. during a National Symphony Orchestra concert. He was met with loud boos on Thursday night, sending a clear message of resistance from the audience. Vance visited the performance with his wife, and many report she was visibly distressed by the reaction from the audience. The situation took a surprise turn when Kennedy Center interim president Richard Grenell, a prominent Trump ally, responded by calling for diversity and inclusion. Let's pause a moment and take that in. Richard Grenell asked for respect for J.D. Vance at Kennedy Center because of respect for diversity and inclusion. Grenell, who was appointed to his position by Trump's board of trustees, sent an internal email to the Kennedy Center staff the next morning expressing disappointment over the audience's reaction to Vance and his wife. He wrote, quote, "I received several messages from Kennedy Center staffers sharing their embarrassment over more than a few symphony patrons loudly booing the vice president and his wife last night. We must work to make the Kennedy Center a place where everyone is welcomed." End quote. Grenell, known for his vocal opposition to progressive policies, suddenly embraced diversity. He said, quote, "As president, I take diversity and inclusion very seriously. We must welcome everyone at the Kennedy Center." This sudden pivot to inclusivity raised eyebrows, especially in the light of the Trump administration's ongoing dismantling of queer and diversity initiatives. Critics point to the irony of Grenell's statement giving the recent erasure of LGBTQ plus programming at the Kennedy Center, including the canceled events like the World Pride concert and the Gay Men's Chorus of Washington's performance. Well,
Unpack that there, Edward.
I know there's a lot to unpack there, but you know, I guess when you're a gay Republican, you can just kind of like pick and choose what, you know, things are important to you. That's what I kind of feel like. And, you know, I think that, you know, sitting on the fence on these type of issues is really annoying. You know, it's kind of like, you know, you have to embrace the whole community. And that's what it really boils down to with me. It's just, you know, and you know what, if somebody doesn't like that, the fact that somebody shows up at an event that is run by the arts, which is prominently
gay,
a lot of queer artists, you know, you wouldn't have this type of culture without the queer community. You know, what do you expect?
Yeah.
You know, if you show up at an event and people boo you, oh, well, we're sorry. Well, you know, we're sorry too.
Yeah, I don't understand why they have, or the current administration has such a hard on over the Kennedy Center, right? You know, the Kennedy Center Honors has always been something that I have looked forward to. It's always been a fabulous night. It's always been, you know, beautifully attended and all that kind of stuff. I always like seeing the clips and the videos the next day and all that fun stuff, right? But, you know, like you said, the arts are, God, we can always say the history of the arts, right, has been brought on by queer folks, you know? What did you expect was going to happen, right? When you went, Vance, what did you expect? And so Trump went today to tour the Kennedy Center for the first time. Because, you know, by the way, he also appointed himself chair, right? Of course, right? And he says he's very disappointed while touring the Kennedy Center today. He goes, you know, this place is in tremendous despair, as is a lot of the rest of our country. Most of it because of bad management.
Amazing.
Yeah. As he lays waste to government programs and puts people out of jobs and, you know, increases unemployment. The double standard is, you know, just beyond the pale. What they want to do, despite how it looks, it's okay for them to do. But if anybody else on, you know, the other side, so to speak, wants to do it, it's illegal, it's immoral, and it's improper.
Well, I wouldn't go necessarily to Donald Trump for any type of taste, let alone the arts. So that's the last thing that I want to do. I mean, I certainly wouldn't, you know, decorate my house in like golden brick shower piss type of, smell, but I mean, that's just me.
To each their own,
exactly.
Right? What kind of events do you expect that are going to start happening at the Kennedy Center? I mean, like boring, I just, without queers, you don't have entertainment.
It'll be fun to watch.
Straight up.
Sounds like what he's going to do next is close it for renovation, and then you won't see it open again for 4 or 5 years.
Or it'll be the Trump Museum. Right. It'll be a la Kim Jong-un. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ plus story for today. I'm Edward Otto Zielke, and let's queer up the USA view. NPR changed his mind to tell Ari Shapiro okay to not skip Pride. National Public Radio, NPR, has found itself at the center of controversy after an embarrassing email snafu regarding longtime gay host Ari Shapiro. Initially, NPR's managing editor for standards and practices, Tony Cabin, advised Shapiro to skip a corporate Pride event, citing the network's ethics handbook, which discourages appearances at private industry functions. This guidance, however, was mistakenly sent to a broader group of NPR editorial staff. The email said, quote, "The guidance in our ethics handbook is to avoid appearances at private industry or corporate functions. Because this is a closed corporate event, I think it would be best to politely decline," end quote. Shapiro, known for his leadership as co-host of NPR's All Things Considered, immediately questioned this recommendation. He pointed out that he had previously spoken at Pride events with management's approval. He also highlighted the blunder of sending the message to the entire editorial group instead of directing directly to him. This incident comes amid heightened threats from conservative lawmakers to cut funding for NPR, which has faced pressure since the Trump administration and more recently within the introduction of the Defund Government-Sponsored Propaganda Act by Senator Mike Lee. Ari Shapiro has been with NPR since 2001, covering major stories across the nation. Well, it's so bizarre to get I can't imagine being a worker and then getting an email that, reading this email and then, looking to the executive or, your leaders of the, of NPR and saying, what are we going to do? And they're just kind of like, oh, you could just kind of pick and choose. And that's what it kind of feels like to me. And it's like, we all need to start sticking together with this. And like, if you start caving in at the top like that, it just sends a really bad message. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Well, I mean, in NPR, I don't listen to NPR because I'm not that old. Sorry. But, it's the truth. Most older people listen to NPR. Sorry, don't look at me like that, Scott. So you know that they're didn't get a lot of funding that they really needed. They have been struggling. This is really not the way that you help that situation at all, and I've been, I don't know if you guys have if this has happened to you. I've pressed reply to all by mistake sometimes, you know what I mean? And thank goodness it was never anything horrible. But look, this information was not meant to be sent to everybody in the editorial team, and it was, and it really flagrantly said what your stance was on him coming to these events that he has gone to for many years in the past. He has been at this place. He looks great for his age. He's been there for 20 years.
Yeah. Now, you saw just a couple days ago they defunded Radio Marti and TV,
Yes.
TV Marti. Mm-hmm. The Cuban community in Miami didn't say a word. There was a point, again, in the early 80s when I was a kid, where that would have been unheard of. And you're seeing people cave, and just because it's Trump saying to do it, they're okay with it. NPR and PBS will be defunded.
Wow. And again, that's fear. It's
Right.
fear because
Right.
they don't know what's next, right?
Well,
they don't want them to come after them directly.
And you see that there's so many organizations that are too reliant on government funding.
Exactly. It's true. You know, like, for instance, our organization was used to be funded federally, you know, I mean, and locally too. But, you know, we had to, you know, think outside the box, and we had to become creative and think, you know, how are we going to raise funds differently and strategize and stuff, and, you know, and it's uncertain. But, you know, I've been seeing a lot of like corporate companies, and I've been seeing a lot of people still, you know, rallying around the LGBTQ plus community. We just got to lock in with them, you know, at this point.
But we should all recognize it's coming.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I don't think a lot of the LGBT service groups that are in South Florida now will still be here in a year, because as their government funding is pulled at every single level, that
no, it's true.
Absolutely going to happen. There. I won't name the names. In my head, I can think of the ones, you know, the smaller ones, the newer ones, the people who are reliant on government funding to run their health programs or their homeless programs. That money's gone. Like, it might be called frozen at this moment.
But it's not coming back.
It's not coming back.
It's not thawing out, baby.
And so that's what everybody just sort of has to start. And that's where, you know, the nonprofit organizations need to work together a little bit more and say, do we really need 27 of us? You know, how do we still band together? Right. And, you know, NPR, PBS, they're going to have to look at other ways of raising money, and it's going to be difficult.
Wow.
And we're just the community to do it, because, you know, we're very crafty, and we get ourselves, you know, out of these situations, and we come up with a whole new game plan. Right. And I'm not worried at all.
I mean, look at some of these prides, right? That they had these corporate sponsors that pulled out, or they did not align with their morals and laurels. So they were like, okay, we're going to get this money on our own. You know what I mean? Like, screw big name, Mr. whatever. I'm going to go and raise the money ourselves, and we're going to have this pride.
There are other ways to do it. It's just that you're going to, all of us are going to have to start thinking out of the box, right? And it's not going to be easy.
No, it's not
going to be easy.
Wow, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ plus story for today. I'm Faye Watt, and let's queer up entertainment. Our gay icons release Freakier Friday trailer. You know, Fridays have always been freaky, but they're about to get even freakier. The trailer for Freakier Friday just dropped, and the nostalgia is hitting the LGBTQ plus community hard. Teasing an even wilder ride than the 2003 classic Freaky Friday. In the clip, fans get a blast from the past as Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis reunite, instantly reviving their iconic mother-daughter chemistry. The duo braces for another round of hilarious chaos and unexpected swaps to the upbeat tune of Chappell Rowan's Hot to Go. This time around, Tess and Anna, years after the original film, are swapping bodies again, but not with each other. After a visit to a fortune teller and a familiar earthquake, things go haywire with a 4-way body swap. Freakier Friday promises a nostalgic yet fresh trip filled with fun. Get ready for more chaotic, hilarious moments. The movie release is on August 8th.
Oh, that's interesting. Your lifelines. It's like they've intersected before. You've walked in each other's path. How strange. Really? You learned a lesson. A lesson that may serve you again. Okay, that's enough.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Bye.
Did you feel that?
I think it's just all in our heads.
5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh my God! What was that?
Oh no, not again.
What's happening?
It's all right.
Who's in my body?
It's okay, it's me, Harp, it's Mom.
Wait, what? If you're me and I'm you, then who is that?
I'm Grandma, sweetheart.
My face looks like a Birkin bag that's been left out in the sun to rot!
How do we fix this? Last time, we convinced everyone that we were each other. Until we switched back.
Oh, girls, that doesn't work. Ow, ow.
I think I just peed a little. Okay, I'll let you know when it's time for you to make your sexy grand entrance.
Sexy grand entrance? Oh, like that.
Jamie Lee Curtis is a grandma. Is that what I got from that? Oh my goodness. No, listen. I thought this was an AI scam when I first saw it, like come up on my feed, right? I saw Freakier Friday and I'm like, come on. Because they got me with the Golden Girls when they thought they were going to bring them back with 4 new people. I was all excited about it. And then, wah, wah, wah. It was a scam, right? But it's not. Like Freakier Friday is actually coming out in August. You know, I had no interest in Lindsay Lohan, but then I just saw her looking kind of hot and now I want to see her, you know? I'm a huge fan of Jamie Lee Curtis, especially after her allyship. She's an incredible ally. She's got a trans daughter, and she just goes above and beyond when she doesn't have to, and I just love that about her.
You know, when I think of Jamie Lee Curtis, I think of as like one of the badass women of Hollywood. You know, she doesn't take any guff from anybody, and she comes from prime Hollywood stock here. I mean, we're talking about Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh. You know, so it's literally like, you know, she really has such an arc in her career, and you know, and she's really such a wholesome person. I just absolutely love her. You know, just a lot, and Lindsay herself, you know, quite an arc herself. And, you know, in the last few years, you know, I feel like she's come into her own. She's really happy and she's just really outgoing now and she's doing fun things again. And I think she's left all that chaos behind her.
Yeah, I'm really happy for both of them because it's nice to see, you know, Jamie Lee not afraid to be seen without makeup.
Yeah.
As a Hollywood leading lady in her 60s, I'll go and say that. I don't know how old she is.
And all gray hair and like wearing it like proudly and looking fabulous doing
and that's how she does it. And then, you know, with Lindsay Lohan, she and I have a mutual acquaintance who was with her every step of the way during those crazy days 20 years ago. And she was getting a rough knock from the media, you know what I mean? But
of course.
It's great to see her find her footing again. And I'm not usually one that likes to see movies being remade. I think there's a little bit too much of that, but I really hope Freakier Friday works.
Yeah, no, I mean, there is a lot of that. There is not a lot of originality anymore, right? So when we see something like this, but the nostalgia
That's what it is.
Keeps us going.
It's
you
the
know what I
iconic
mean?
characters, and it's like, okay, now it's 20 years later, and what are they doing? You know,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, you know, it piques an interest, especially a movie like that did so well all those years ago.
And take that in, 20 years.
Yeah.
2003.
Yeah.
Different world, different everything back
It's a
then.
lot.
You were in elementary school then.
I was. Yeah. Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ plus story for today. I'm Faye Watt and let's queer up Florida. New owner of OMW Diznee Festival comes to Hotspots Happening Out. Moments ago, Al Ferguson, Hotspot Happening Out's Vice President of Community Development, sat down to talk to the new CEO of One Magical Weekend, Ethan Suarez. Yes, you heard me right. There is a new mayor in town in Disney's Gay Town. They talk about the move from the first Saturday in June to May 29th weekend to respect the critical social justice event, Washington, D.C. World Pride. You are going to learn about these changes and all the amazing events of one of the world's largest LGBTQ plus music festival events held in Orlando. Whether Riptide at Disney, the Red Party at House of Blues, or Bear Jamboree, my favorite, May 29th to June 2nd, 2025 will come at an incredible time with the history we are watching all around us.
The first weekend of June at Walt Disney World is Red Shirt Day. This historic recognition event is where, in the 1990s, members of the LGBTQ community gathered the first Saturday in June at Disney's Magic Kingdom. And presto, one of the largest gay gatherings in the world was born. It later became the OMW Festival. You may know it as Gay Days, where more than 100,000 celebrants gather. Well, this year, there are some changes. OMW has made a one-week date change to accommodate the world's LGBTQ celebration of World Pride in Washington, D.C. OMW will return to Orlando May 29th to June 2nd. And that's not all. There seems to be a new gay town mayor leading One Magical Weekend. And on Hotspots Happening Out's Queer News Tonight, you are getting ready to meet him and hear all the latest details of our beloved gay weekend at Disney. So let's welcome Ethan Suarez, the new CEO of OMW. Ethan, welcome. We're really glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Coming down from Orlando. How does it feel to come from one gay mecca to a huge uber gay mecca?
I love it. I used to live down here in Pembroke Pines with my husband about 10 years ago. So I was always in Wilton. I was always in between the two cities, back and forth between Miami and Fort Lauderdale, just living life and enjoying it.
Yeah, it's funny. I went to UCF, and I loved Orlando, but I just couldn't live in Orlando because of all of the traffic. And now I'm in Fort Lauderdale, and it's like
that's the same thing me and my husband say. We're like, "You want to move back here?" And he's like, "No, I don't want to deal with the traffic."
Yeah, the traffic. It's terrible wherever. Well, let's talk about what happened last fall. Last fall, as I said, you became CEO of One Magical Weekend. Why did you want to lead one of the world's most important LGBT music festivals? It's not a natural. Oh, check that box.
Yeah, it was. I've been in healthcare for 20 years. My background is in healthcare. I've been in EMS and hospice and in primary care with my other job, but it kind of fell into my lap of, hey, do you want to take this on as a new venture? And we talked with our board of directors and said, well, you know what, let's do it. And be crazy kids and say, let's take this diamond and run with it.
You know, I'm completely enamored with that because I worked in an industry and then as kind of a side hustle at RuPaul's Drag Race, and everybody said to me, you know, drag never did drag, but drag never seemed to be you, and that's what I hear. Your healthcare background, an LGBT music festival doesn't seem like a natural fit until you realize, oh, it's completely a natural fit.
It does. And when something posted on Instagram the other day that about circuit parties and why the circuit party was so important, and why these music festivals were so important to our community, is because they empowered our young kids to, I wouldn't say radicalize, but more empower them to fight back and fight this oppression that they were receiving in the early 80s and 90s, when the height of the AIDS epidemic, that it was that time of a reprieve. You could take a breath from your activism all day and have fun, and then get ready to go to it again the next day.
Yeah, so you were a social justice warrior all day. You partied all night to 6 o'clock in the morning, and then you started again.
Started all over again, yes.
That's right. Your healthcare background, that's also interesting to me. You're the CEO of Pineapple Healthcare in Orlando, and next week you're going to open a new extension in Kissimmee. Pineapple Healthcare is OMW's presenting sponsor, and principally you serve primary for LGBT community. Tell me about what you and what they do.
Yeah, so we believe in friends taking care of friends. So we want to be that one-stop shop in Orlando and Central Florida that you can come get your healthcare taken care of in a predominantly queer space. Orlando is predominantly queer. We have our little bubbles, but it's not like Wilton Manors down here where you're in the gayborhood, as we say. We don't have one in Orlando. So it's nice to come in and not feel judged or stigmatized because you're married but in an open relationship, or you are polyamorous and have 2-3 boyfriends. And we don't care. We just want to take care of you. So we deal with your HIV, your PrEP, whatever you need as a one-stop shop. Come in, get seen by our providers who are all queer or allies and have worked in LGBT health for many years, and be on your way.
Well, to all of our viewers in Central Florida, you've got to check out Pineapple Healthcare, and when you come to OMW in May, you're going to learn all about them. Let's zero in about OMW itself. From the 1990s, the Diznee first weekend in June was our worldwide gay calendar signature event. We affectionately called it our circuit. Remember that? Our OMW was a gay circuit party. That's how it started. But we're now in the mid-2020s, and sometimes people go, why do we need to do this? And Ethan, I'm curious, how has OMW changed in these decades since Red Shirt Day at the Magic Kingdom formed? And how has it changed to be relevant and worthwhile and still important in the mid-2020s?
I remember that. Like, I'm wearing my red shirt today, my OMW red shirt, because I wore it when I went into the Magic Kingdom when I just came out, and I remember feeling like a community there, standing in front of the Magic Kingdom and Cinderella's castle with hundreds of other people wearing that are similar like me, when I felt very alone. I went to school in Fort Myers when I came out, and it was very conservative, and I felt very alone. And then getting to go to Walt Disney World, which is, you know, one of the most magical places on the world, but also be surrounded by my community, made it even more special. And that is what OMW has felt for me for many years. Prior to being, you know, a sponsor and involved in the production of OMW, I got to be a guest, and I met friends and my community and my tribe that I got to be with, and see these people that I've become friends and they become family year after year.
Kind of a reunion.
Yeah, it's a reunion. I get to see people that live in New York, New Jersey, Chicago,
Paris.
Yes, there
London.
are people from all over the world that come to Orlando for this weekend. And to be part of this community and this family is so magical that you get to check in on Thursday. I usually always check in on Thursday night to the hotel, so I get to get settled. And then start my Friday waking up in the elevators and going down for breakfast and seeing everyone checking in and just seeing friends again is so wonderful.
You know, as institutional as that first weekend in June is for OMW, along comes this change. Let's talk about your decision to move the event weekend for 2025 a week earlier because of DC World Pride. I imagine after you've just taken over CEO of OMW, I imagine that was a scary decision for you. How has it affected your 2025 plans to start OMW May 29th?
So we surveyed. I'm a business person, so I love numbers and I love data. Been in healthcare for so long, so I do everything off of science and data. So we surveyed our...
And so you're not with the Trump administration?
No, definitely not. Right. We surveyed our guests. When we send out after every event, we surveyed our guests and said, hey, what was your experiences like? And then we threw an extra question in there, is, would you be attending World Pride in 2025? And 40% of our respondents said yes. So we're like, oh, do we really want to compete with the biggest gay event in the world? I mean, our event is a big event, but are you debating going to DC or Orlando?
Trump, Washington, DC.
Yeah, and this was
politics.
this was even before we knew the outcome of the election.
Yeah,
and because we surveyed this after One Magical Weekend in 2024, and 40% of the respondents said this, and so we're like, you know what? Let's move it a weekend ahead and be the official kickoff to World Pride. So you come to Orlando, have your magical weekend, go home, wash all your jock straps and harnesses on Tuesday, and then Thursday fly out to DC.
Yeah. And I personally appreciate it because I'm going to go to OMW, then I'm going to get on a plane and go to World Pride. And
I'm doing the same thing.
A huge number of people will come to that same conclusion. For those few of you that do not, have never been to OMW, don't know what we're talking about, let me try to quantify it for you. Ethan's note about statistics. I do the same thing in journalism. There is no doubt of the impact of OMW. We looked up some of the facts about One Magical Weekend. OMW has played an astounding 755,000 songs in its history. Let that wash over you for a moment. OMW has participated in 34 Pride festivals. OMW has been involved in 280 LGBT events all over the world. And the most staggering number, more than 1 million people have attended this LGBTQ event. Amazing. It's just amazing. Why do you think OMW has become so important to our community?
Because it is a sense of family and community. When you check in, we buy out the whole hotel at the Sheraton Lake Buena Vista, and we also have the Bear Jamboree at the Crowne Plaza right across the street. We have the entire hotel are ours. I own that hotel that entire weekend. There are no families running around. There are no kids running around. You can be your true, authentic self. If you want to come down in a kilt and heels and a harness, go for it. No one's going to judge you. It is one place that you get to be yourself without fear of judgment.
I'm curious with the importance of the value of being authentic and your authentic self, and the things going on in the world, and World Pride comes along. Were you ever scared over the last 6 months? Have you ever thought, "Oh my gosh, what have I done"?
There is. There's been that time that weekend after I signed the contract with the previous owners, and I was like, "What the hell did I do?" Mm-hmm. I'm now in the entertainment business, in the hospitality business. I was scared. Even when I opened my first company, you know, it's that leap of faith. And I let that fear fuel me and keep me pushing it to be a better experience every year for my guests.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to give a few more statistics before we wrap up the interview, and it sounds like you don't have to be too scared. Let's talk about the major events that are going to happen this year at OMW. First off, you mentioned it already, the Sheraton Lake Buena Vista. If you haven't stayed at the hotel, beautiful, not too small, not too big. You don't get swallowed up, you don't get lost. Tell us a little bit about the Sheraton Lake Buena Vista.
Sure. The Sheraton Lake Buena Vista is a unique design of its hotel. It has a circular buildings that encompass the pool. So the pool's on the interior of the building. So you get to look out. If you wanted a pool view room, you can have that where you look out your window into the pool area, which is wonderfully decorated every year and changes decoration every day for the whole weekend. Or you can be a little quieter and have the city view room. But you get to come right downstairs, party where you play, or stay where you play. And you walk right down to the pool. The after hours are in the hotel ballrooms. Our first party on Thursday will be also hosted at the Sheraton, and our final party on Sunday will also be hosted at the Sheraton.
Yeah. You launched that. The Thursday party will be May 29th. It's called #TBT. It's the kickoff party. It's one of the parties that I really appreciate. Having gone to UCF, been to the Parliament House 10,000 times, it has a real Orlando feel to it. You've continued that.
Yes, we want to host and highlight our local Orlando talent because we do understand there are people coming in from all over the world. So let's welcome them home and show them as
and who are some participating?
Some is going to be hosted by Angelica Sanchez this year. She's our hostess. And I know London Adore from down here from South Florida is already on cast. And I've loved being surprised because I enjoy One Magical Weekend so much that I kind of tell my staff that, like, here, run with it. Here's my idea for the party. Let me be surprised that day of and see who's on staff and like see their performances.
Yeah, it's a reunion event for me. Catching up with Darcel Stevens.
Yes,
it's a reunion. Friday, of course, is probably if I was going to argue, I'm gonna really totally piss off a lot of people here in South Florida. If I was going to argue the best party in Florida in the course of the year, it happens Friday night at OMW, and that's Riptide at Typhoon Lagoon at Diznee. You're continuing it. It borders on iconic.
It is iconic. It is the largest pool party, I would argue, anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
I have 6,000 of our friends together, and we take over Disney's Typhoon Lagoon.
The
park closes.
Just pause there. 6,000 LGBT fans in a water park at a nighttime party.
Yeah.
It's just mind-blowing.
The park closes at 5 to kick out all the straights, and then we transform it in 2 hours, and then open up at 7 o'clock, and have, this year will be DJ Kitty Glitter from Australia, headlining.
Amazing.
She will be spinning from tonight with the opening set by Chris Sudkin, one of our Orlando locals. And it is amazing. You get to be in the wave pool, having fun with your friends, dancing on the beach to Kitty Glitter, or just
in the sand.
Yeah, in the sand, right there, or just chilling on the lazy river, meeting new friends.
Yeah, you know, and one of the things I really love about Riptide is sometimes there can be this conflict between those that are real hardcore circuit dancers and the bear community, for example. The bears have a space, and everyone seems to get along and say, no, everyone seems to be welcome.
There's the Bear Lagoon that we have that DJ Brianna Lee will be spinning at. They have their own separate area.
From Parliament House, iconic DJ from the Parliament House.
From the Parliament House. There's their own area, but it doesn't, I believe in the community coming together and saying that, you know, if you're a bear, you're a little muscle boy, you can all be dancing together and have fun.
Yeah, to the South Florida community. If you've never been to OMW and you don't have much time, you don't want to spend much time, the one thing you must do is to go to Riptide at Disney's Typhoon Lagoon, Friday night of OMW weekend. It is a not to be missed experience. Then you repeat the next night. On Saturday, we go to the former inclination of Downtown Disney and go to House of Blues and the Red Party. I think this is like the 8th version of Red Party. Tell us about what you do there at House of Blues.
Yeah, so it's Volume 8. This year it's our 8th one of House of Blues. And it is Roma themed. So we're thinking gladiators, toga themed party. And it is just an epic production of dancers and theatrical movement going on in House of Blues, and we throw a big house party there.
Yeah. And what's interesting about Red, if you haven't been to the Red Party, both Riptide and Red Party have a VIP option with the bar. I'm not necessarily desirous to go to the dance floor because it is just an overwhelming experience, but there's a big production show continues through the evening at Red. I just find myself when I go to the Red Party smiling all evening. I'm in that VIP watching the crowd, and it's like electricity and energy that is just washing over me in dancers, show production, the people that are having a great time. I can forget everything that we're watching and hearing in the world and just totally be in this moment.
I love Red Party, and when High Drive Productions, who's the production company that does all the dancers and supplies all that production value for that, they asked me when I met them, they're like, do you want to be involved in any of like the rehearsals and like looking at and seeing what's the pre-production? And I said, no. I want to be standing in the DJ booth and enjoy it for the first time, just like everyone else.
That's great.
I have looked at moving that venue because there are some restrictions, and that is my downside. And it is the size of the venue, and then you have to go through Disney security. So you have to be dressed appropriately when you get to Disney Springs. Yeah. You got to be in a shirt that's not see-through. You can't be in a jockstrap. You got to be appropriately clothed to get there, and you have to be there before 11 o'clock. Right. So you got to start that party a little early. Will things change in the future? Who knows? But it is something that I have looked at.
Yeah. Well, as Scarlett O'Hara said, we'll worry about that tomorrow.
Yes.
This year, Red Party is going to be great.
It's going to be an amazing party.
Then you have, of course, the iconic pool parties. You know, pool parties have become a staple in LGBT. One of the things I always laugh about when I think about OMW is the pool parties. There's no different names for the pool parties. No. It's the pool party, but they're all the therapy pool parties. Now, I laugh. I don't know if that was foreboding to Pineapple Healthcare or not, and it wasn't. But therapy is aptly named for pool parties.
Yeah,
at OMW.
At OMW, because you kind of got to recover a little bit. Because if you're like me, like I'm recovering at the therapy that we're.
Part of that is called the Cadabra after hours parties. And really this is one, in Europe you see a lot of it, but you don't see a whole lot of it in the United States. Parties that are designed really to not get started until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're going to go literally all night.
Yeah.
It's very unique at
party where we kind of go all the way into the wee hours in the morning when the sun's coming up. Reminds me of my days at Club Space and Discoteca.
Oh yeah, right.
When I partied all the way into the very early morning hours.
Right, absolutely. And one other final big feature that I really like about OMW is Bear Jamboree. You've mentioned it. Across the street is the Crowne Plaza, a separate standalone property, really completely embracing the bear communities. They have their own set of pool parties. They intertwine with OMW in terms of Riptide and Red, etc. It's very funny to me because over the last 2 or 3 years, when I go up, Faye Watt, very well known here in South Florida, she always wants to stay at the Crowne Plaza. And she's probably the only woman, I'm guessing, that's staying at the Crowne Plaza with her wife. And she just talks over and over and over about how great the Bears are to Faye and how much she loves going to the Bear Jamboree, which I laugh. Every time she says it, I just bust out laughing no matter how many times she tells me. I have walked through that hotel where I am chopped liver and Faye, it's just amazing. The jolly nature, literally, of the Bear community and Bear Jamboree at OMW.
Yeah, so Bear Jamboree is a separate party of that, but you can pick your own flavor. If you want to be at the Bear Pool Party during the day and then come to the after hours, you can. Those tickets are interchangeable. Or if you're at the OMW, but you want to go to a bingo at the Bear Hotel, you are more than welcome to go back and forth between the two hotels.
Right, and I'd be remiss and would be canceled if I didn't mention Jonathan Cassanius, a good friend, an anchor here at Queer News Tonight. He comes up and performs, sings, entertains. God only knows whatever else he does, but he sings the praises of the Bear Jamboree. It's something that we have a huge bear community here in South Florida. It's something you for sure want to look at. I know you already know it, but it's just a reminder. I want to, for a second, talk about the politics that are going on in the world. The politics that we're watching in the LGBTQ community in America is shocking. What do you hope OMW accomplishes being an entertainment platform with everything that we're watching going on?
So OMW being part of Pineapple Healthcare, it helps fuel our education, our advocacy, our outreach, and our services that we provide for low cost and no cost care to our patients. So we say that it's party with a purpose, that you're helping fund our advocacy and our outreach to reach people that are living with HIV or don't know about PrEP and getting these services to these people that are needed most. And when we have people that are undocumented or their immigration status is in limbo, we don't care about that. We want you to be healthy, happy, and best taking care of yourself. So that's why OMW is so important, because you can have this wonderful party, but you're doing good while you're having fun on the dance floor.
Party with a purpose. I will remember that. And one other thing I'm curious about, 2025 looks like it's going to be amazing. Look into your crystal ball for a moment, Ethan. What will OMW look like next year in 2026? Will it return to first weekend, or have you made any decisions yet?
It will return to the first weekend, like historically we will be. And we're just elevating the experience for the guest. OMW is a diamond in itself. We're just polishing that diamond a little bit more and making it shine even brighter. We're talking about wristbands, and I know if you've been to OMW before, you know every time you have to have a different color wristband for each different day. Mm-hmm. We're going to try to change that away and go with the EDC type style, where it is a wearable. You kind of have one band for the whole weekend, and you're passing
like on a cruise ship.
Yep, your one pass is available for the whole weekend.
Right. Yeah, that's great. Well, one thing is very, very clear. 100,000 partygoers are going to converge at Diznee and in Orlando, May 29th to June 2nd for one magical weekend. And I say that because the one thing that I don't like about us saying OMW, we've gotten into this slang of saying OMW. One thing I don't like about saying OMW is it takes away the word magical. And that's really what's at the heart of this event. As of this date in March, as we're broadcasting this on Queer News Tonight, the weekend is already approaching a complete sellout. You can get more information and ticket information at onemagicalweekend.com. And from my seat, OMW, One Magical Weekend, is so very special for our gay community, especially in the world we are living in today. We can certainly use some good news. Ethan Suarez, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Hotspots Happening Out's Queer News Tonight.
Thank you, Al, for having me.
That is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ plus stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ plus story for today. I'm Faye Watt, and let's queer up travel. Visit Lauderdale invites you to unravel the mystery in Clue, a walking mystery. Visit Lauderdale wants you to get ready for a thrilling experience with Clue, a walking mystery, presented by the Broward Center for the Performing Arts in Fort Lauderdale. Running from Thursday, March 21st through Sunday, April 6th, this interactive event invites you to step into the shoes of legendary Clue characters. As the descendants of Major Green, Colonel Mustard, Solicitor Peacock, Professor Plum, Miss Scarlet, and Chef White, you'll embark on a mystery-filled adventure across multiple Fort Lauderdale locations. Your mission? Well, to uncover who murdered the elusive Mr. Body, of course. Tickets for this exciting family-friendly event are priced at $39. It's perfect for those 8 and older, though minors must be accompanied by an adult. So grab your detective hat and join the hunt for answers in this thrilling twist on a classic mystery game. For tickets and more information, visit browardcenter.org. That is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ plus stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ plus and allied community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform. Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your lead anchor at Queer News Tonight, Faye What? And on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the incredible anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Scott Galvin and Edward Otto Zielke. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we hope that you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, by being transformative and being queer. Good night.
Good night.